Hey Paday, after a long vacation it's Shved again. Если вы хотите посмотреть русскоязычную версию этого ролика, ссылочка внизу. And if you're an English speaker, then welcome to the Anomic Mission Guide in 00 Space from Juan Mares and the Warrior Stripe Corporation. Let's begin. I will make a timeline chapters so you could navigate through this video easily. And today's topic is Anomic Base mission called Anomic Base Angel or Angel Convoy, something like that. I don't have a lot of footages to walk you through this mission this time. Actually, I have only two, but these two footages explain two main concepts, two ways of how can you approach the mission and solve it. And you can just take my fits and train what I fly. Or instead, you can try to adapt any of ships that you're able to fly to solve this mission. So, let's move on to the footages, and here's the first concept. So, the first footage represents kiting concept. I use kikimora. You may stop the video and check the fit, or you can copy it from the file I will link into description. You may see that my MWD is overheated and I enter the mission, and now I will rotate my camera to watch upwards. Actually, you may turn it downwards. It don't mean a thing. I just want to go up or down as soon as possible. I will burn overheated for a couple cycles just to make some distance from these Dremels. This is the meanest moment of the whole thing. If you want to try to adapt any other ship to do this mission, like maybe an Omen Navy issue or Vedmak or something else that you're already able to fly, you should pay attention to align time and MWD speed. You may just copy my kikimora fit and simulate it and see. If your fit has better align time and better speed, that most likely it would work. If not, it won't. So let's get back to the footage. I will speed it up and set the double speed and try to explain what I do here briefly. Most of the high-sec runners do this mission with the brawl ships like Vigilant, and this what happens when you do not brawl. These four Dremels will just follow you as long as it takes, but they won't move with the same speed all the time. There's gonna be some speed ups, then slowdowns and speed ups again. And as soon as I use kikimora due to Triglavian toward mechanics, I should sync my speed with the Dremels to keep the damage spool up. And that's what I do here. When I see in the overview that Dremel speed is rising, I hit plus to set max speed. And then when I see a Dremel speed drop, like here, I click somewhere in the middle of the speedometer to set something like 1.3 or 1.4k a second. So the main goal here is to keep a comfortable distance, which is around from 42 to 56 kilometers for me in this kikimora. You should never ever let them scramble you. And the goal number 2 is to apply the damage all the time. You may see that I overheat my gun sometimes just to break through the Dremels faster, and 2 of them are dead. This is not a perfect run, because right in the beginning I accidentally switched off one of my tracking computers and lost some spool, but now it goes really well. You may also see that now Dremels are out of sync. One of them gets a speed boost while the other one slows down. You should not be confused, this happens all the time. You just have to attack the closer one while keeping your eye on the rest. And another Dremel dies. For me, it takes up to 170 kilometers to actually kill a Dremel. So, as you may see, all the wrecks of the Dremels are pretty much separated from each other. And most of the times, I just make a bookmark on one of those wrecks And then when I finish the mission and it is despawned, I just warp to this bookmark and collect all the loot.
So now what we're gonna do is just finish the last one and rewarp to the mission. As soon as we can, just warp inside it. I hit my turret to get more damage and kill the treadmill faster. This wouldn't take long really, and we will have some time to discuss the fit. All the fits are pretty much adapted to the 0-0 space. The main thing is to keep all you have as cheap as possible and as functional as possible. So as you may see, I have this MWD, which is necessary for this kiting concept. But anyways, I prefer to have MWD in most of my 0-0 space fits, because this NPC 0-0 space is usually pretty much inhabited with random people that most likely would like to kill you and so on. So what we have here, we have obviously our gun. I use Tech 2 just because it's cheaper. Also we have MWD, as I said before, and we have in mid slots double tracking computer to use it for more optimal range. So I used to fit some Marketeer named ones, but then I realized that they are not necessary, and you can just use tracking computer Tech 2 and then an optical compact named one, Meta 4. There is also a nanofiber and 3 entropic radiation sinks damage mods, 2 polycarbons for more agility, and a small ionic field projector for more lock range. So you can actually shoot for all the distance you have with this tracking computers and meson charges. I use meson charges for most of the times, not other ones. So now we're gonna just finish this convoy transport, and then the mission is pretty much done. So it doesn't make any damage, so we can get as close as we need to and just keep spooling to kill it, and that's all pretty much. So a little bit about the how you get to the mission and so on. If you will try to move to 0-0 NPC space and start mission running for any faction, then after maybe a week you will just know everyone living in the space, and you will most of the time just know when you have to worry or when you do not have to worry. So the main thing, if you got bubbled on the gate, you may always use your MWD to crash the gate. Actually, it's the main maneuver you use. You just jump into a gate, see a bubble, and then you align the gate you've entered from, and just switch on your double MWD and spam the jump button. That's how you evade the fight. So now let's move to the next one, and it's the brawling setup. Here you may see a deimos and a vigilant. So I will leave the fits in a file linked below the video, and this one is an expanded version of the high sec vigilant fit. So you may see that both of the ships has 50 MN MWDs, and this all is for the same reason. If you get into camp with this pair of ships and you don't really want to take the fight, you can just do crash the gate maneuver with this MWDs. So the main reason why I decided to expand a vigilant into a vigilant plus deimos is because it's really hard to fit a cap stable vigilant with a MWD for a reasonable price. So you may see the first thing I do when I land into a grid is I lock my deimos with a vigilant and I start cycling Nosferatus to get more cap on this vigilant, because it's still not stable without this Nosferatus. The next thing I do is I broadcast the Dremels I want to hit first to coordinate between these two ships easier. As you may see, all the Dremels aggro to deimos, and it receives a lot of damage, but it's really not a big thing, because tanking damage is deimos's main feature. So, to actually kill these Dremels, we need to coordinate all our webs. 2 from Vigilant are necessary, and also have 1 additional from Deimos. You'd better coordinate it to the right one too. Also have 3 turrets on Vigilant that do additional damage. Also, as you may see, I use drones and so on. So now we're gonna finish the second one, and as you may see, I lock 2 more Dremels, and then we will switch to those. Deimos is tanking really well, and actually we won't have any more problems with these Dremels, because they clearly have not enough damage to break even through the Vigilance tank now. So not much is really left to show, and I will speed up the record, and while we're watching how this mission ends, I will try to explain you another reason why I use this combination, a pair of a Deimos and a Vigilant. As you may see in a local chat, there is a guy under the name of Chi-Hoop, and his alt Chi-Hoop 2nd. He's another mission runner that lives here, and he's kinda aggressive sometimes. So what's happened here? We were entering a system at the same time, and what he saw was a Deimos and a Vigilant on the gate with him. You usually see a Deimos in 0-0 space as a solo PvP ship, hardcore solo PvP ship. Vigilant is frequently used for camping. If you add any dictator to this, this will look like an actual camp, and most of the people will think twice before messing with you. But even if you get into a situation when some nerds is trying to kill you, whatever what's, surprisingly, your Deimos is PvP fit, and he still kicks ass. The main idea in this kind of situation is to save Vigilant, so what you want to do is to collect all the aggro on the Deimos, and while Betty is trying to break the Deimos' tank, you have to move Vigilant into a safe location and then try to save Deimos. Or even if you know what you're doing, you can just kill all those baddies. So now, as a bonus, I want to show you something like a worst case scenario that happened to me in this Calenti Deimos plus Vigilant setup. As you may see, I have all the Dremels locked, and they are all now attacking my Vigilant. And he's suffering a lot. I have to overheat all my repping stuff and try to kill Dremels as fast as I can, just to lower the DPS. It turns out that the first Dremel is gonna die soon, and when it happens, it will be much easier for me to tank. It doesn't look like these Dremels want to switch to target. Usually they switch to drones, but not this time. So the first one dies, and it should be easier for me to tank. Anyways, I cannot hit my reps anymore, cause otherwise they will just burn and switch off, obviously. I switch my damage and webs to the next Dremel, and as you may see, the Vigilant hit points kinda stabilized, so it turns that it's not so dangerous anymore. So as we kill another one, then most likely we won't need our crisis management anymore. And finally, at this point, Dremels decide to re-aggro into a Deimos finally. So now we need just to finish the mission in old-fashioned way, as we did
on the previous footage. So there is no way how these two Dremels can break through the deimos tank, and even the vigilant is kinda stable. So I'd call this a worst case scenario, but you still can switch on your crisis management and skills and still be able to find a way through this. Don't be confused with this footage here. I was just looking for something to use as outro, and I've decided that nothing is better than good old ultra violence. So I was willing to say that I will put all the fits I've used in this video into a file and link it below. There was no high-sec tactics, because those are usually based on time efficiency, which usually means that you need to fit more expensive modules. All these fits are maximum cheap, just because we're using them for 0 space when you can actually die. There's gonna be more of these burner guides on my channel, so subscribe and see you next time.